Koschei the Deathless, Part 1. What if the secret to immortality was hidden inside a needle, locked inside an egg buried deep in a chest beneath an ancient tree? If you can't listen to the full story now, save this episode and follow the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. Across the snowy forests and shadowed steppes of old Russia, a legend whispered through the centuries tells of a man who could never die. His name was Koschei the Deathless, and though he walked like a man, he lived like a curse. For generations, children gathered around firelight to hear the tale of this eerie figure, a sorcerer so feared that even death itself could not claim him. In Russian folklore, Koschei is not merely a villain. He is a symbol of the unnatural, of power clung to beyond its time. His very name, Koschei, sometimes spelled Koschei or Koschei, is thought to derive from an old Slavic word for bone or skeleton, painting a chilling image of his gaunt frame and ageless stare. But unlike the monsters of the West, Koschei was not undead in the rotting sense. He was cunning, articulate, and terrifyingly alive. The secret of Koschei's immortality was hidden far from his body. Legends say he tore his soul from his flesh and buried it in a series of nested objects. First, a needle, fragile and sharp. That needle was placed inside an egg, which was hidden within a duck. The duck was placed inside a hare, and the hare locked in an iron chest. That chest was buried under the roots of a mighty oak tree on the mysterious island of Buyan, a place said to vanish and reappear with the tides, a liminal space between worlds. To destroy Koschei, one would have to find that chest, open it, kill the hare, capture the duck, break the egg, and snap the needle. Only then could he be defeated, but few dared try. Koschei had lived for hundreds of years, casting spells, stealing princesses, and outwitting even the bravest heroes. He was often portrayed as thin, with wild eyes and a skeletal presence, a man consumed not by age, but by obsession with preserving his own life. Russian folklore preserves many variations of his tale, but most agree on one thing. Koschei was more than a man. He was a warning. A cautionary figure that showed what happens when someone tries to outrun death for too long. As we continue the story in the next part, we will meet the heroes who dared face him and the princess whose heart played a key role in the struggle between life and unlife. Koschei the Deathless, Part 2. In many versions of the tale, the hero who dares to challenge Koschei is Prince Ivan, a familiar name in Russian folklore. Ivan is often portrayed as brave but impulsive, guided as much by his heart as by any sword. His journey begins not with a battle, but with love. He falls for a beautiful and powerful woman named Maria Morevna, a warrior princess unlike any other. She is strong, independent, and unafraid of war. She and Ivan marry, but their happiness is short-lived. While Ivan is away, Maria is captured by Koschei, not with brute force but with magic. Koschei had once been imprisoned by Maria herself, locked away in chains of iron. But through trickery and timing, he breaks free while Ivan is gone, steals Maria, and flees to the ends of the world. When Ivan returns and finds her missing, he doesn't hesitate. He rides after them without pause, without a plan, with only his love to guide him. Ivan's quest is long and full of trials. He crosses forests that never end, speaks with talking animals, and meets magical creatures who test his courage and kindness. Along the way, he is helped by the Baba Yaga, the fearsome old witch who lives in a hut that walks on chicken legs. Baba Yaga is no easy ally. She only helps those who show wit, respect, and persistence. Ivan, desperate to save Maria, earns her grudging favor. She gives him the knowledge he needs to find Koschei's soul, the chest beneath the oak on the island of Buyan. But finding the island is no simple feat. Buyan is said to shift with the wind, to rise and sink with the sea. In Slavic myth, it is a place of great power, where the gods tie the sky to the earth and storms are born. Ivan, with the help of magical birds and beasts, finally reaches it. There, buried deep beneath the roots of a massive oak, lies the iron chest. When Ivan opens the chest, the hare inside leaps out and runs, but Ivan, quick and determined, catches it. From the hare bursts the duck, flapping frantically into the sky. Ivan's journey has prepared him for this. He draws his bow and brings the duck down, retrieving the egg that carries Koschei's life. Inside, the needle still waits. But Koschei senses what is happening. In that very moment, miles away, he begins to weaken. His magic falters. He feels the pain of vulnerability for the first time in centuries. Furious and desperate, he races to find Ivan and stop him before the final blow. What happens next is a confrontation not just of strength but of purpose, and in that final moment the tale reveals its deeper meaning. Stay with us for the last part of the legend, where love, mortality, and the hunger for power collide in a lesson passed down through generations. Koschei the Deathless, Part 3. As Ivan holds the egg in his hands, the wind shifts. Far across the land, Koschei feels his soul tremble. The centuries he spent weaving enchantments and bending fate to avoid death begin to unravel. But even now, even at the edge of defeat, Koschei does not flee. He arrives with the fury of a storm, riding a black horse whose hooves scorch the earth. The sky darkens as he descends, face gaunt, eyes wild, driven not by hope, but by terror of an end he believed he had escaped forever. The final clash is not a battle of swords. Ivan does not fight with brute force. Instead, he holds power in his fingers, fragile, trembling, and final. As Koschei approaches, Ivan crushes the egg. Inside, the needle snaps. In that instant, Koschei falls to the ground, his immortality undone. For the first time in ages, he is human again, and that is when he truly understands fear. Not the fear of defeat, but the fear of being forgotten. Ivan returns to Maria, not as a conqueror, but as a man who has faced the shadows of greed and obsession. They embrace not only because the danger has passed, but because they know they have changed. In some versions of the story, they live peacefully. In others, they part ways, each carrying the memory of what they fought for. The tale shifts with each telling, as all good stories do. Koschei the Deathless remains one of the most iconic figures in Slavic mythology. He is not only a villain, but a mirror of our own desires. His story warns of the cost of clinging to life beyond its time, of sacrificing love and connection for the illusion of control. The needle, the egg, the layers of protection around his soul, they remind us how far someone might go to avoid facing their own mortality. But legends endure not because they are perfect, but because they help us ask questions. What does it mean to live well if we cannot live forever? What is worth protecting? A soul, a love, a memory? And perhaps most importantly, what are we willing to let go of in order to truly be free? Thank you for listening to this journey into one of the oldest and most haunting tales of Eastern Europe. If you enjoyed it, follow the channel, leave a comment sharing what this story made you reflect on, and share this episode with someone who loves mythology. There are many more stories waiting to be uncovered.